Alright, one last video for tonight. So, with Canister or Peter doing well with baubles again, I've decided to go ahead and try and give them another shot. And it turns out when I first tried them, I was using them incorrectly. I was using them on my opponents more often than on myself. Now, if we're in a winning position, then it doesn't matter who you use the bauble on. I mean, if you already have a lantern, lock, and the bridge. Now, if we're not in the lock and we use them on our opponent, there's only a handful of cards that matter. If we top deck a bridge or we top deck a lantern or whatever, or some needle, whatever we need, like one of the few things in our deck, like a bridge, needle, lantern, or a surgical, then chances are that it's not going to matter what the opponent gets. Or if we're post sideboard and we top deck a ley line, a cage, or a magus, or the one card that shuts off large swaths of their deck, it doesn't matter if we top deck it, and like if we see their top card. So chances are, if their top card is an answer to it, chances are it's not an answer to it. Like, out of all the cards that could be in their top deck, chances are it's not an answer to one of our great cards. So what's more important is we dig to our great cards and just play and basically hope they don't have the answer, because we don't have much control other than that. Chances are their top card is going to be like a land or another creature that stopped by bridge or something like that. So it's better almost always to just use them on ourselves and use our mill rocks to filter our draws to get into a lantern, a bridge, a surgical, or a needle. So with his suggestions, I decided to go ahead and retry it, and they've been working great. I love it. So I went ahead and I forked out the money and got 4 baubles, and I was miserable buying them again when I bought my original 3 play sets for my different decks. When I bought them when they were 50 cents long ago, and then I sold them when they spiked to 10. Well, anyways, so this was the list I was playing for a bit, but I found, so there's a couple things here. I love Magus here. I'm probably actually going to swap one out for a Magus of the Moon, though, to try to help shore up some more matchups, because this doesn't help with Valakut, but one Magus of the Moon will help with Valakut, and it'll still help with Grixis Shadow or Tron or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a shot. I just got to afford it. $30 stupid card. Now, otherwise, so this I mean, the deck is sweet, but so another big change here was the Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is also, it helps in shoring up the Tron, the Valakut, and the Grixis Shadow matchups. Unfortunately, it barely makes a dent in those matchups, but it makes a huge problem with the burn matchups. It makes the burn matchups way worse than they were before. Before I tried baubles or anything, I was just playing my builds where it was just 4 brutality, 4 inquisition, and just value. Not trying to get super fast, no main deck ley lines, just trying to play value. So my burn matchup got way worse, and my affinity matchup got kind of worse too, which I'm not comfortable with. So I swapped from this build to this build, where now I'm back to 4 main deck brutalities, and instead of having 1 brutality, 3 Thoughtseize main, I have 4 brutality and then 2 Thoughtseize side, and it's been working great. It worked great, so I'm enjoying this so far. I'm still updating the spreadsheet every once in a while. I haven't been as steady on it because of work and school and stuff, but it's getting there. So there's still a decent amount of information to be had, and the Facebook page, there's a ton of people on there now, way more people than when it first started. Yeah, if anybody has any questions about this build, and I also have my tapped out page where I have my specific sideboard plans for each matchup with this build. So feel free to check that out. And thanks to Peter for getting me back into baubles. So, alright.